Welcome everyone. This is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. Thank you so much for joining me again for this particular podcast release. This would be bonus 7. So we are basically wrapping up my special occasion for the Future series of Nahor and Princess Aamina this December the 2nd, 2019. So thank you so much for joining me once again as we're going to conclude this special release, the special bonus 7, which is entitled In the Moments We Shared Since the Beginning. So we're going to focus on that just right quick. I'm going to just go over some things here, as we say, housekeeping, and then go ahead and get into the short. Okay, so as you have already by now, that I am very excited that my podcast is going to be intertwined in supporting the production of MOLIAE, the prestige return of the MOLIAE Stageplay. Yay! Can I get it? Yay! Long journey. Stay tuned, for soon I will release a journal type bonus on my podcast about from then to now. The whole journey of with writing Mitsrayim and turning into different elements of creation, and now returning back for a big celebration of bringing it actually to stage. This is a bigger production, as I've been saying for a while, and I know people has, like I said, mentioned before, have been waiting for me to announce that. So I have been blessed to bring it back to stage April the 25th, 2019, and then April the 26th, 2019. Again, it would be 2 shows. So if you want to support the podcast and the production as well, go ahead and buy your tickets ahead of time and get ready for that. I'm excited for it. The other thing I want to just kind of touch on as well is that I think the last episode for this year will be on the 16th of December. So that's coming up. And then it will be 3 weeks before you would get another one, that I will be releasing another one, and that would be in January 2020. Okay, so at any rate, I want to also focus on something else, which is my cafe press. Please go ahead and check that out, my merchandise line for this podcast. I also have a cafe press shop for MOLIAE, the official website of MOLIAE of the production, and I also have for my other podcast show, Surviving Your Journey to Success, I have a cafe press shop for that. So don't forget to check that out. I would greatly appreciate that. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for those that have bought my books. Really do appreciate that. I do get that update from my publisher, so I want to say thank you. And I want to just touch on again, like I want to continue to do, is the commercial ad. So let the commercial play, just like you're watching television. Those advertisers or what have you is basically what supports that production, that show, right? It's the same thing here with the podcast, except it's on a different lower scale to accumulate till you get more listeners and so forth. But it does help to kind of see that coming in, how much it is coming in, but just to be seeing that does help. So please let the commercial play. All right, beginning to the end. And that's about it that I want to cover. I will have some links to the stage play so you can purchase your tickets and so forth. I will intertwine throughout from now, definitely up to April, having special type bonuses, talking about the play, talking about the characters, the actors, and so forth. So stay tuned from that, okay, for that. All right, let's talk about the highlights today. This bonus 7 is everything, how it wraps it all up. And I will go into this more when I do my director clip notes of these series. I have to do it because some of the things I didn't have time to really share. Right? So definitely look out for the director clip notes of these series, this particular series, okay? Of the Future series of Nahor and Princess Aamina. So when this one is titled In This Moment That We Shared Since the Beginning, this right here is basically Princess Hannah figuring out, seeing, sometimes you can look at somebody and you're like, you know what? I think you really dig so-and-so. I think you like her. You know what I mean? In this case, it was Princess Hannah that saw that, and Princess Hannah informed, have that conversation with Princess Aamina, and she's kind of taken aback, and she handles it in a way at her age, trying to understand. And sometimes in life, you thinking it's certain what you see, this is your world, and then something comes in and say, actually, no, this is the truth. So you kind of struggling with that. So that's what we're going to take a look at. Nahor does contemplate on his next move and choices of how he wants to move forward, because this is a very important time. She's going out for at least 4 years, you could say college, except she's 12. It was as if it's in the middle of her age at that time when she comes back, and then that's when the kings are definitely coming on the scene very fast. So it's very emotional. So I hope you enjoy this particular short story, and definitely tune in when I do the directed clip notes and talk about it more in depth. The recap for last time is basically where we looked at bonus 6 in this series, and that was entitled "The Commune of Leadership Bestows Upon the Future Mitsry Queen," which is Princess Aamina, and she's having this moment with her father, King Milan. And then next you see that she is in a particular area in the Sudan, Africa as we call now, and she's going through these commune challenges leading up to for her to be that status in the sense that she has achieved that leadership well as knowledge, and to be a future ruler like the other young rulers that are there competing and passing, achieving the success that they need to do. So she is there, Nahor is there, he has some challenges as well. So at any rate, she was able to get elevated, and that's also when Princess Hannah saw something in Nahor that she wanted to talk to her sister. So do tune into that. That's a very good short story, I like to say. That's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed the series of Nahor and Princess Aamina. This is going to help you really connect when we get ready for the stage, because definitely Nahor is one of those prominent characters in that storyline. So definitely go check out that podcast. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? So let's begin. For this week of my podcast show, Nichel Anderson, Short Stories and Beyond, for Season 3, podcast show 2019 to 2020. This is bonus 7 of the Future series Nahor and Princess Aamina, entitled "In This Moment That We Shared Since the Beginning." Opening scene. The upspew rose from the heavens earlier that sar moment, more so than most from the royal palace balcony and the domain of the princesses of King Milan and Queen Hagar, as both their daughters shared a quiet moment before Princess Aamina was to leave for her next phase of rulership studies and training by succeeding through the Commune of Leadership. Princess Aamina had on her royal heket rank of a young Egyptian Mitsrayim student wrap attire that embodied the colors of cool turquoise with horizontal patterns of yellow gold and sapphire gemstones throughout. It matched her solid gold gemstone collar breastplate. She also had on her royal wrap dress that came to her knees, exposing her royal sandals of golden patchouli colors, matching the beads of crystal of yellow gold color throughout her Nubian braids, as well as she were wearing her golden wristlets from her family colored gemstones for the good luck opposed upon her. She stood there looking forward over the stone rail of the banister and towards the ground's many interconnecting levels to the palace that soon she would not see at length for a long time. Now, still at the age of 12, and after she completed the many challenges of the Commune of Leadership, her new journey was upon her of the unknown and away. Now at the age of 12, and after she completed the many challenges of the Commune of Leadership, her new journey was upon her of the unknown and being away, when she would be away from what she was accustomed to since birth. She felt excited, but as well as a bit recluse, that she would miss her family dearly. Now, as the moment before her presented itself, she felt even more bothered and confused as emotions came in and rushed in as the now, during the rising of the upspew, a key cycle. For Princess Hannah, standing to her immediate left of Princess Aamina, Princess Hannah was waiting for a response after she just revealed to Aamina about Nahor, but Princess Aamina was speechless. So Princess Hannah remained quiet as she continued to hold her prayer meditation beads of the ancients, wearing a long flowing Egyptian Mitsrayim royal wrap dress trimmed with turquoise and pearl hunter green color. Princess Hannah's hair was long twisted with a few strands pulled back, tied with a turquoise fabric, as the time of the day that the wind often would breeze across the Nile and would pick up so many as before. Suddenly, Princess Aamina spoke. "I did not know why I could not see for what you or maybe others saw in him." Princess Hannah shook her head. "You must know that life is different than what we think to know of all things, Princess Hannah continued. Thus sometimes we meant not to know for what someone else has in their heart. Princess Aamina held back her tears. I feel sorrow that I did not know, and that I can never give Nahor for what he seeks. She was about to cry when Princess Hannah came to hug her, when just then it was the royal female advisors to the Queen, Calais and Basia, that entered their domain to announce it was time for Princess Aamina to leave, as the others were waiting on the first level, as the crowds of Mitsrayim also came to wave and see her debark on her new journey for her rulership studies of the mystics. Princess Aamina gained her composure and said to them, I shall, in a moment. Where is Nahor? I need to speak with him first. Calais and Basia looked at each other before speaking. He is in the Nahor chambers. Then Calais continued, as the others in the third circle are. Princess Aamina looking at them and then at Princess Hannah, she said, Inform Nahor I need to speak with him in the Askar room of the West Bank 4th level of the palace. Calais and Basia looked at one another for a moment, confused and concerned of the need, for Princess Aamina actually needed to start her leave as everyone was waiting. But then they looked at Princess Hannah and agreed, as Princess Hannah was nodding to do as Princess Aamina instructed. Many moments later, that seemed like less of 8, Nahor was walking back and forth on the west bank of the Askar room of the royal palace, as he was instructed by Calais and Basia to do so by the request made from Princess Aamina. The Princess Aamina wished to talk with him. He felt something different than his rush of feelings that of this day, that he would not see her for many, up to 4 star cycles in years' time. Then he slowly turned around as he were wearing his family Egyptian manis wrap to his knees of colors of sandstones and emerald green. His dreads were to his shoulders now, that seemed to constantly brush against his Egyptian royal breastplate. There she was, walking onto the balcony towards him. He instantly noticed and felt something was not the same. She was hiding her feelings of being upset. And then he knew that she knew. Somehow, he knew what she was thinking. Princess Aamina, holding back her emotions of confusion and a bit upset, she had firmed to speak with directness. As she was only a few steps away from him, staring into his eyes, she spoke. Is it true? Nahor staring back into her eyes. True that of what moment? Princess Aamina was about to tear up, but she spoke through it. All of the sars that we shared. Is it true for what was in your heart? Nahor froze. He suddenly turned around, not to face her and speak the truth within. Princess Aamina raised her voice. I deserve to know of your intent. Was it real, or only to achieve an outcome? Nahor went to the banister that they often leaned on since they were young, and to look outward as far as the Nile could be seen. He finally replied to her, Everything for you I have done was of pure intent, to be with you. He continued to look over to the banister, and then finally he looked over to her for a moment before he walked back in front of her to return her stare. Nahor started to speak again. There were always borders between us. Princess Aamina shook her head side to side and then responded, You seem to know how to break those borders, but you said nothing to me. So I will ask you once more to what my sister revealed to me this Saturday. Is it true? Nahor didn't know what to reveal and say, for he knew it could change everything, and he needed more time. He shook his head in resistance and turned his back slightly from her. Princess Aamina shook her head to fight the tears and started to turn around to leave. And then suddenly, like a breeze that once separated them that moment, it turned Nahor to turn back to face her. And then he spoke, as she felt his spirit for her to turn and face him. Nahor said, "It is true." Princess Aamina looked into his eyes as tears formed. Then, as time went forward, Nahor took a breath and looked into her eyes and spoke softly for her to still hear as he opened up his heart. Nahor said, "In the moments we shared, since the beginning of our time, my heart will forever flow as the blue Nile of only you." Princess Aamina shook her head, not knowing what to do. She tried to step forward. He tried to step forward, but she held up one hand, for the truth was too much at the moment. She turned around abruptly and walked out of the square balcony and through the corridors to see Princess Hannah as she hugged her before Princess Hannah walked to the staircase. She held back her tears as her sister as well came to wipe them as well. Aamina stood at the first level of the staircase and could see so many royal Mitsrayim guards. They were over 70 standing in position on each side of the wide balcony steps, leading to the first level. As she started to walk down the steps in the middle to greet her parents, King Milan and Queen Hagar, as well as her grandparents, Elder Tahib and Queen Mother Mani, to the open entrance of the palace, she held her composure, as more than 100 royal Mitsrayim guards were standing outside now of the main palace entrance, and advisors were there as well of the King Milan reign. Princess Aamina continued to walk down the many steps. She managed to wave to the many that was there, the Mitsrayim, her people, as they stood afar but could see her, making her official embark on her next future journey to rulership. As General Kamra Datar followed to the immediate right with 40 guards of the king to assist in the voyage. Princess Aamina got inside the royal chariot and sat back as the sounds of many cheering outside continued, and the other guards continued to load up the accompanied chariot for her journey. She felt more enclosed as old memories forced through to what she now foreseen a different moment of time than before. She closed her eyes as the old memories won through to the now, and she could recall those moments that it was always there in him. Then she said in a low voice, "I will remember." Sing.